In 1987, Amity was invited by the Director of Corrections, Jim Rowland, to come over and meet with him and his executive staff to see if we could help with the problem of reducing the recidivism of inmates, which was very high, particularly those who had addiction problems. We started a couple years later at the R.J. Donovan facility, and because there was a National Institute on Drug Abuse research project, we were able to show that we could reduce recidivism by almost 50% for those inmates who were in our prison program and then went to our Vista facility in San Diego. So they had one treatment episode that occurred in 2 locations. And that research was very compelling for the department and for the legislature to fund this rather enormous expansion of services to inmates. It makes sense financially, and it makes sense in terms of recidivism reduction. In 2001, we acquired the facility which you're going to see on this video, our Los Angeles facility called Amistad. It had been actually a CDC facility for many, many years. We leased it and then purchased it specifically to take men and, for a while, women who were coming out of prison and to help them reintegrate into society successfully. And we actually have men serving the last 6 months to 12 months of their sentence as inmates in the community. We're very proud of the work that we're doing there. We think that it's a model that should be emulated and replicated, and I hope you enjoy watching this.
We had our ups and downs, more downs than up.
I come from a broken home, which a lot of us do that end up in the places that I'm at.
I was abused sexually, emotionally, physically.
We had a drug-infested neighborhood, drug-infested home.
Started selling dope.
I tried to use drugs as a means to an end, for a financial gain. It didn't work.
Heavily, and in order to support my habit, I started to carjack and rob people.
And I wanted to belong to something because I didn't feel like I belonged to my family. And that just kind of led me to join a gang, and from there my life just kind of spun out of control.
I only viewed myself as a weapon or a soldier for their cause.
I grew up in the streets, gangbanging.
Shit happens. Accident happens, I wind up in prison, with a 15-year life sentence.
I was a juvenile tried as an adult. I was sentenced to 19 to life in prison.
7 years of life plus 135 years.
I was in prison for 31 years.
I pled out to a 19-year deal.
18 years.
30 years.
In a cold place.
And I spent the next 8 years in solitary confinement in a windowless cell with no direct sunlight and no direct contact with other human beings. I don't know necessarily how I made it out of that and still maintains my sanity, because I've seen so many people go through solitary confinement for years and really lose it.
So it was a constant battle of trying to not allow the gravity of prison to take me down in its swell.
When I came to prison, I abandoned 3 small children, my wife, my mother, and the rest of my family and siblings, And my daughter, she was 1 year old. When I got out of prison, she was 32 years old. When she had her first baby, she brought her baby to prison for me to see and hold him.
There's so many people that done different wrong things in one place, pursuing and striving to do something good now. I hope people know that just place in Amity is helping people do something good and positive with themselves.
So at Amistad, it allows our students to serve the last year, which would have been incarceration, in the community, engaging in strengthening moral development, emotional literacy, family dynamics, and self-help and restorative paradigms.
It was almost like a light came on, and I said, you know, what am I doing? Why am I spending my time just really wasting my time while I was in there?
Everything just got clear.
So either I could die in prison or I could find a way to work myself out of prison. So I took the latter way. I decided to work my way out of prison.
And I know something just came alive in me and was like, I believe I could get out of here.
I wanted to change. And I was like, I don't want to go back.
When a person's time does come, when they've been in prison for, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then they're, okay, your date's here, just cut them loose. Well, what do you think their chance of success is going to be? Absolutely, probably not very good. So studies have shown the recidivism rate, or the return rate back into prison, it's really a problem there based on that. So looking at the overall picture as far as what people need, giving them what they need early on, and helping them basically individually, almost to a sense grabbing them by the hand and leading them to what they are going to need, chances are they're going to have a better success rate, and we're already seeing that here.
It's really a real hard transition. So many things have changed, you know, throughout, you know, during the time that they've been away.
Because I had never been a free man who had, you know, maintained or handled adult responsibilities. I had never paid rent, done my taxes. I had never even had a driver's license. So essentially I was coming out to a world where not only did I not recognize it anymore, but I had to actually learn what it meant to like live my life as an adult.
So one of the focuses of the Amity Foundation is really supporting policy change. I think we've done that through a lot of collaborative efforts with groups like Stanford and other community groups throughout California to really help change policy. Things such as 3 strikes reform. We've helped serve a lot of the students that are being released on life sentences. When the Men's Community Reentry Project started, there was a very short length of stay. It was 120 days. We've been able to successfully extend that for up to a year. There's been certain legislative changes like Prop 57, which now gives milestone credits that allows for an earlier release based on participation in our project. There's really been a big transformation of what we're able to do with this project. There's been other reforms that we've worked on, like Ban the Box, that has really helped clear the way for people to have more employment opportunities in the community, really promoting and changing legislation and also contractual policy change, so we're able to hire men and women that are currently on probation and parole, which has been great because a lot of our success has been through having employees that have firsthand and lived experience. My passion for doing this is not only working with the men and women in the teaching therapeutic community, but also the children that are represented by all the men and women that we serve. I was actually one of those children. I first came to Amity in 1983 at the age of 6 years old. I was in a number of foster homes and orphanages, and often we hear about what the parents go through before they get to the TC, and too seldom do we hear about what the children have gone through. So I think we really help families break a multi-generational cycle of poverty, incarceration, degradation, and not being included in the larger society, and really brings the men and women returning home from prison, allows them to be responsible mothers and fathers to their children, so we don't continue to see a cycle of children returning into the prison system, which is what we see today, with, their parents are incarcerated, they ended up in the foster care system, and the likelihood that they will end up repeating some of these cycles of addiction, incarceration, and poverty are greater if the cycle isn't broken along the way.
I actually have 7 children, 13 grandchildren, but 2 of my own, and I just met them for the first time 2 Fridays ago. So it felt really great, and it was touching, very emotional.
So whole person education really is a holistic, organic approach to working with our students that is not medically based. It supports health, it supports emotional literacy, moral development, so many of the things that are much bigger than just substance abuse. And I think the more that we support whole person education, the greater the success of the individual will be to promote social progress. And I think whole person education really sets us apart from just drug treatment providers, which Amity is a teaching therapeutic community. More importantly, it really relates back to the emotional literacy and the moral development, because we don't want people to be sober criminals. We want them to be successful members and back in the society. So it's a lot more than just drug treatment.
The most valuable thing I think has been affirmed to me is the circle. When I study most non-westernized cultures' history, they have a circle, a council, or some type of setting where group members can come together and share their experiences, share their similarities, and kind of like encourage each other, learn and thrive off of each other. But to be able to come to a circle and speak unabated, speak my mind, speak how I feel, speak what I believe, to where I know I can open up and share and not be ridiculed.
And if you've ever felt alone in a room full of people, you need to start doing some personal work. You need to start looking within, and why not in a safe place?
There's somebody here that lived the same experience you lived.
I did the work of resolving all the issues that had been plaguing me, all the pain and everything that happened in my childhood, everything that I experienced in prison. I just had to go through and I had to work through all of that stuff.
Sitting in a group with some men and stuff like that, learning how to get honest, learning how to build true relationships, learn how to be supportive, and stop being a taker and become a giver, become a protector, and things like that.
They all seem to point to your origin, finding balance in who you were at the time when you were your most pure, your most innocent.
You help you change your thinking, transition from that prison mindset to the free mindset, being a civilian, being a regular person.
So once I learned some new set of morals and values, my life was able to grow and expand in a different way.
In the therapeutic and teaching community, you're assigned a job and a role in the community. So your role as a community member may to be working on moral development and emotional literacy, but you also have job assignments in the community that teach responsibility. So what are the small jobs? It could be cleaning a bathroom or working in the kitchen, working in various areas of the community that really help prepare people to work back in the larger society and to be responsible employees at some point. So really the job skills and job training begins in teaching therapeutic community. We've really created pathways for men and women to enter back into the workforce and have done quite a bit in employment services. So we're at a point right now where no student who wants a job is not able to get a job.
It's really essential for you to just give yourself time and reflect on the time that you've been away.
There's employers who come to Amity, have you fill out your resume, all that stuff online, and there's people getting jobs in construction, there's people going into Caltrans, because they ended up getting hired on full time. But they were introduced to that at Amity.
You can save your money and leave here with however much you've made so that you have something to go to when you're released from here.
You know, supporting and teaching and therapeutic community is that we have to get people employed, and we have to find people housing at some point when they're students in teaching therapeutic community. And so I think it is so critical and so motivating to other students when they see somebody get a job and work in the community and reunite with their families, and then they're placed into housing. Los Angeles has one of the largest housing crises in the U.S., and one of the worst homeless issue, is going on that you can see right across the street from our campus. And so really watching and helping assist with that is going to help with the long-term success of all of our students at the campus. We really work with them to ensure that they have a safe place to go, because sanctuary is key, whether it's in our community or whether it's in the larger community. So if somebody leaves our campus and they don't have a job and housing, the likelihood of their success will not be very great. So we go to great lengths to make sure that the environment, the physical environment and the emotional environment is not replicated like the prison system is. And so making sure that we're integrating the rooms with various, races, and that making sure that when we're dining, we're being mindful of how we're dining together, and that we're not promoting some of the gangs that were promoted in the prison system. And that takes a lot of thought and effort and education behind that as well.
The thing that really stood out is that coming from a prison setting where everything was so segregated, there was the cops, there was the whites, there was the blacks, there was the Mexicans. Coming here, all that just disappeared.
Everybody mingles with everybody.
Coming to this wonderful program that it is, you don't have to deal with the actual BS from prison, politics, racial tension and all that. So as soon as you get here, everybody, from the moment you get off the van to the moment you sit in that first chair, everybody just, whether what race they are or whatnot. And just when you come into the room, when you come into every building, everyone's just polite, they're very open arms and everything.
Hi, my name is Armando Salazar, and I'm the 5 Keys Charter School teacher here at Amity Foundation. And one thing that I try to do for my students is try to help them obtain their high school diploma, GED, or HiSET while they're here. Depending where they're at with their credits and also with their abilities, we try to tailor a curriculum for them to help them reach their goal.
They're trying to make you whole, and they're trying to give you all aspects of wholeness. They're not just trying to work on your educational, they're not trying to just work on your rehabilitation or your addiction. They're working on the way you eat, they're working on the way you think, they're working on the way that you essentially live.
At least you get to feel like a human being. You're not demoralized, you're not eating junk food that looks like it was cooked 3 days ago.
Our students come in from prison after many years of fast food, junk food, and prison food, many of them in truly deplorable health conditions. And I've seen some tremendous miracles in the turnaround of students after they begin eating our menu. Some of them are obese with hypertension, diabetes, hepatitis, arterial sclerosis, and we try to encourage a healthy plant-based diet. We always have vegan and vegetarian options, and we have a juice that we make every day, which is beets, carrots, celery, chard, kale, fresh ginger, and turmeric. We try to avoid GMOs and refined foods, processed flour. We cook everything from scratch, utilizing a lot of fruits and vegetables many of which come from our aquaponic garden. So we grow the celery and beets and chard and kale and onions and turnips and squash. And we've had quite a number of students actually develop a culinary arts career as a result of being here. And I've had the great privilege of finding them jobs at various catering companies and restaurants that I've worked at. And they do really well. They're very hardworking, very grateful for the opportunity to learn. We've had some tremendous success stories.
So what Amity Kedron Satellite Clinic has to offer is availability to Amity students for walk-in appointments, or they have appointments. They get to do their physicals, they get to review their medication, and they get to review any physical ailments that they may have.
At Amity, we like to have an environment that feels safe, that is beautiful, that is comfortable, and that makes people feel good. So many people who have been incarcerated don't think they're worthy, and so we feel it's incredibly important to make people feel important. It's really also about setting expectations for the folks who come to us for help. If you give them an institutional place to live, then most people will behave like they are in an institution with all that comes with that. With environment, we also think it's important to make sure that it's representative of the people that we serve. So we have representing all races and all cultures and all religious backgrounds. So everyone who comes here can have something that they relate to. And that is a way of being inclusive. Correctional settings are very exclusive and punitive. And here we can create a beautiful environment that's welcoming and that is very inclusive to those who have been excluded for so many years.
I remember a lifer that did 35 years, got out, and was reunited with his daughter that evening. I was flying back into town. It was the day before Thanksgiving, and I went to meet with him upon his release, and he walked into our building, and he looked at all the wood furniture in there, and he said, "I haven't seen wood furniture in 35 years." And that was so powerful and so moving. I think sometimes we forget and take for granted some of the environments that the students we're working with come from. And so those small things for us mean so much for our students that are coming into Amity.
They took a bunch of men to the beach. We had fun, you know, because it's about going and enjoying life. This is a welcome home ceremony to my peers. These are ex-lifer men. Just recently came home from prison. My name is Ozell Johnson. I did 31 years in prison. I've been home 2.5 years. You know, and I love coming to the beach because it symbolizes freedom.
My name is Reginald Malone. I was incarcerated for 28 years. I've been home 5 days.
My name is Roman Menchaca. I've been locked up 28 years, and I'm enjoying freedom right now, family, friends, and right now I thank everybody who participated in my freedom.
My name is Stanley Ferguson, and I was locked up since I was a juvenile, 25 years, and now I'm finally out, been out about a week already, and I always vision about coming to the beach, being amongst normal society, and it's good to be out, it's good to be amongst the people that accept me for who I am today, and I'm appreciative.
My name is Ricky Chilton. I've been in prison since I was juvenile. I've done 36.5 years, and I've only been out 2.5 months. And it's been a very, very, you know, amazing experience for me.
What would you say, man, 15 men going to the beach? Yes, 15 men have spent over 30 years of their life in prison, each one of them, and they hadn't touched the water for like 35, 40 years. It was like being little kids in the ocean. So them experience bring joy to my heart and let me know, man, that life is worth living when you see them, you know, that opportunity to see each other, enjoying each other's company.
And that's what Amity does. It gives you that I mean, I get tingles just talking about it. I mean, it's just like, it's a vibe, it's a feeling that when you see guys doing the right thing, and you can find them, and then people teaching the next person the right thing.
A year and a half later, not only have I adjusted to society, but I am now living as a free person. I view myself internally as a free man would view himself.
I got a job. I work at Sweet Greens. I do part-time right now because I'm concentrating on school. I'll graduate July 13th.
But it takes work. You know, you have to participate, and you have to be the main character in your story.
I love the process that I had to go through to get here, and I wouldn't trade that for nothing in the world.
To help give me meaning in my life.
Today, my sisters and brothers forgive me, my children forgive me, and they're proud of the work that I do, and they're proud of the man that I've become.
I'm now a union member with Local 1036, the Painters Union, as an industrial painter.
Hope is one of the only few things that can be shared.
They've seen something better in me than I've seen in myself.
People here haven't forgotten where they came from.
For the rest of my life, when I think about when I came home, I'm going to think of Amity. These people will go out of their way for you.
You can heal here.
If this was a drug, it'd be illegal.
You know, take advantage of those doors that open for you. You know, take advantage of it because they might close. But for right now, guess what? It's open for you.
If you really want to do something, here it is.